There's a great article for you to check out. I highly encourage you to check out the article in more detail, maybe even read the whole thing. I think you probably read it in about 15 to 20 minutes. There's a link here on this slide picturing the personal essay by Creative Nonfiction Quarterly, like a magazine. I'll make sure there's a link in the module as well. And I've highlighted a few bullet points, but just as you're getting into this personal essay and thinking through how you want to, like, of course, the story that you want to tell, the thematic principles, and kind of the current issues that it applies to, but then, like, how do you actually write this? How do you craft this? How do you put it together? How do you tell a story? And So I think this article is helpful to think through this. Of course, be considering the essays that we've read. That's kind of the whole goal, is to consider what has been a creative approach that others have taken, and how can I mimic that. And I just want to reiterate to you the importance of this of the skill. It goes beyond randomly putting together an essay for an English class, but being able to tell stories and connect them to important issues is something that I believe you can and should use all of your life. Whether it's in a meeting or you're presenting to a small group, being able to share stories and connect them to real issues is important. So I think this is going to be a worthwhile endeavor for you, not only for this class and practicing writing skills, but in life and how you communicate and how you connect universally with other people. So let's talk through this. In this article, I would say kind of the main overarching principle that the article talks about at the beginning is just that creative nonfiction, it, as you can imagine, is structured creatively uniquely. And so there's not always a one size fits all approach. It's less structured than an academic essay for sure. And there's room for kind of deviation and moving things around. But with that in mind, there are some principles that the article highlights and some different approaches that you might take. So first of all is narrative. That's maybe the most straightforward. Tell stories. Think through plot of even fictional stories. Right? If you think back to what you learned about how to craft a story, uh, background or exposition, the conflict which propels the rising action, climax, falling action, resolution. You can tell that story about an event in your life, and kind of build up the suspense and things like that. Keep readers entertained by working your way towards the resolution of the conflict, right? So that's one way that you can approach it. Also, the whirl of reflection, taking a reflective approach, because I'm specifically asking you to connect your essay to a current event. There's going to be some element that should be reflective in nature. And so it doesn't always have to be plot focused, but you can look at kind of the issue or the topic at hand, and how it relates to your life. But you also might look at it from other different angles of connections that you're seeing in society and culture and your community. Right? It doesn't necessarily just have to, like, the narrative approach isn't the only way, but certainly I want you to still focus on sort of mixing those together. Narrative should be in your essay some. Look at the rubric, right? But that reflective aspect might take you out of the narrative some, and that's okay. Next, the formal limits of focus. Because you're writing an essay based on events in your own life, you probably won't have a problem coming up with ideas. For most people, the problem that they have when writing about their own lives is writing too much. Okay, I really want you to stay within the range of the word count that I give you. Certainly, you should hit the minimum, but I really want you to try and stay at the maximum. If you go over a little bit, that's okay. But some of this is, how do I tell a story succinctly? We think that, oh yeah, I'm an overachiever because I'm going over the word count. The reality is, you're as 12th graders, you should be working on how to consolidate stories. And there's a skill in being able to weigh what is an important detail and which one doesn't matter as much. And sometimes you're like, oh, everything matters. I can't take it out. Um, but you have to. And there are times in life where you are in a situation and you need to have a fixed amount of time that you speak, communicate, or a fixed amount of space on a page or whatever. There's a skill in learning to communicate concisely, even in telling stories. Dipping into the well is just a reminder that there should be a thematic focus. Obviously, you're connecting this to some kind of current issue, but you want some takeaway, some message. It's more than just telling a cool story about your life. It's about why this matters. What's the lesson you learned? What's the message that you're trying to tell to the reader? Now, you don't want to sound overly formulaic and in your writing, like the lesson that I learned was, right, like it should be clear in sort of the reflective approach that you take, thinking to the essays that we've read in class and the ways that clearly the authors are portraying a message without kind of hitting you over the head. Sometimes you have to mine for that theme. What is the author trying to communicate to the reader? And you want to do that powerfully, but often subtly as well, without saying the theme of my essay is, right. We want to try to avoid that. And then lastly, we've talked about this already, but braided and layered structures, an approach that you might want to take. You don't have to, but something that you might want to do in your own personal essay is to weave together multiple stories, whether it's multiple events in your own life, or maybe it's an event in your own life and an event going on in the world around you, and how those things kind of merge together, right? We see that in the fourth matter, the state of fourth matter. No, I'm forgetting the title. But there's sort of the story of the writer and her personal life, and then there's the story of what's going on at work, and obviously they collide violently, right? And it's very intense. But there's an example of that sort of braided structure, and it allows for that juxtaposition that we examined in class as well. A really powerful tool to convey sort of conflicting ideas through contrast that ends up actually telling a really important message. So take some time to consider and think through the elements in this article as you plan out and begin taking off with your own writing.